Hey guys, this is ComputerTekkie, and today I will be reviewing the new Perpetual Calendar Chronograph watch from Citizen. Now, to be specific, the item number of this particular timepiece is BL5405-59E. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful. Let's get started. In the box comes not only the watch, but several different accessories. First of all, you have a lovely case/stand that Citizen made completely of recycled paper materials. If you notice, there is a seam at the stand where you can actually pop off the top and turn the entire stand into a case to transport the watch. Next, you have different documents, including the paperback manual, or if you prefer, you can use a disc manual that comes with it. And then you have a booklet on the 5-year warranty. It's a limited 5-year warranty for all Citizen watches. And a Quickstart guide. So if you want to start quick, you can use the Quickstart guide. Onto the watch. As you may have noticed, not only on the face of the watch, but on all of the boxes, the cases, the documentation, there's a small subtitle that says EcoDrive. EcoDrive is a system exclusive to Citizen watches in which the watch is actually powered through different light sources. Not just solar light, but fluorescent light, incandescent light, whatever. Basically, the smaller inner dials on the face of the watch have light panels, which will absorb energy from different light sources and recharge a rechargeable cell in the center of the watch. Now, unfortunately, that cell will eventually go bad, so Citizen recommends that you send the watch back into their headquarters every 2 to 3 years or so that they can replace it or adjust anything else in the watch that may have gone bad. The bottom dial on the face of the watch is called the mode dial. There are 4 different modes that this watch can change into, which are the time calendar mode, the chronograph mode, the local time mode, and the alarm mode. The time calendar mode sounds simple enough. It's just a clock and a calendar. But there are a few key points that you need to make sure that you notice whenever you set it. Now, first, if you look at the top left, there's a 24-hour clock. Basically, a 24-hour clock, for those of you who don't know, is saying instead of using AM and PM, we'll just make the whole day set up to 24 hours. So everything from 0 to 1200 hours is AM, which is the right-hand side of the clock, and everything from 1200 to 2400 hours is PM, or 1200 to 000. I don't know if that's the correct term for that. But, yeah. So whenever you set your clock, make sure that you set it to the correct side of the 24-hour clock. Right now, it is 8:11 PM. As you can see on the 24-hour clock, it is set to approximately 20, because 1200 hours is noon, so 12 plus 8 is 20. So that's very important. If you set the 24-hour clock, it will completely mess up your calendar. Now, onto the calendar. The calendar shows the date, not the month, but the date that it is today. So if you look closely at the bottom right, there's a small rectangular box that shows that today's the 17th, January 17th. Now, whenever you're setting the calendar, make sure that you take care about setting the year correctly. If you look at the top right, there's a dial that just has the hand over 0. This is the dial that you would use to set how many years it's been since the last leap year. Now, for some reason, whenever it's running in regular time calendar mode, it doesn't display that. But whenever you set the time and calendar, it should say that the hand would be on 1, indicating that it's been 1 year since the last leap year. Since it's 2013, you need to make sure that you set that correctly. Now, the reason that you have to take care about that is because, what is leap year? Well, basically, the Earth's revolution around the sun is literally 365.25 days. But instead of making every year 365.25 days, they make the first 3 years 365 days, and then they combine those quarters into an extra day every 4th year, or leap year. So whenever you set it to the correct years it's been since the last leap year, you need to make sure you set that correctly, because having an extra day every 4th year can really screw up what the date is on your watch. So it can be handled out right now if you set it correctly, other than dealing with some complications with that later on. Very important to take care about. Next is the chronograph mode. Now, to switch between modes, you use the crown on the right-hand side of the watch, pull it out to position 1, which is just the first little notch, and turn it clockwise. So as you can see, I've gone from TME, which is time calendar mode, to chronograph mode, and then pop that back in. Now, as you can see, the second hand is going to be the little marker hand for your chronograph. Your normal time will be running with the hour and minute hands, but this second hand will no longer function as a second counter for your clock. If you look closely at this dial, which doesn't really say anything, this will actually be used to show you how many minutes you've been recording with the chronograph. So you can start the chronograph by pressing button A. It'll do a little beep, and the second hand will whiz completely around, and it'll start tracking the amount of seconds in the chronograph. Now, the chronograph is very advanced. It can go from single second increments all the way down to 1/20th of a second increments. So that's very important. Because this has 60 markers on this inner dial to measure the amount of minutes, it can record a total of 60 minutes or an hour. So very nifty there. To stop the chronograph, simply press button A again, and it'll beep at you twice. And then to reset it back to 0, hold it in for 2 seconds. 1, 2, and it'll spin right back to 12 o'clock. Very cool. The third setting is called local time, which I can set right now by turning that clockwise. Local time is a setting specifically for travelers. Basically what it means is if you're going on a far business trip, say you live in Boston and you're going to Sydney, Australia for some business trip, you want to know what time it is back at home because of the huge time difference. What you do is set it to local time and set the time that it is currently in Boston, and then whenever you get to Sydney, you can set it back to time calendar mode and set it to the Sydney time. That way, if you're back at your hotel thinking, you know what, I want to call my wife and say, I had a great job at this meeting, but wait a minute, there's a time difference, so should I call her? Well, all you have to do is switch it out from the time calendar mode to the local time mode, and it will show you what time it is in Boston. So if you don't want to calculate crazy time zones, you can just do it like that, and it'll be like, oh, okay, 12 in the morning is not the perfect time to be calling my wife. I'll just figure it out tomorrow. So that's what local time's for. Finally, you have alarm mode, which is just a simply put, alarm clock. All you have to do is switch it over to alarm mode and then set the time that you want to be woken up or you want to be alarmed for something, and it'll beep at you for 15 seconds and nothing else. You don't have to worry about snooze. It just says 15 seconds and then it'll alert you in another 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 45 seconds. So pretty nifty. Although, I gotta say it's not that loud of an alarm. It's more like a traveling alarm, you know, not really a permanent alarm. So if you need to be woken up on a daily basis, I would recommend you buy a regular alarm clock. So, yeah. As you may have guessed, this watch is an aviator's watch. The outer rings on the face can be used to determine fuel usage in an airplane over a given speed, over a given time, MPG, whatever. I'm not exactly sure how to set that. You can adjust the outer white ring using this knob right here, so it's pretty cool. So if anyone is interested in learning how those work, or if you already know how this works, feel free to make a reply to this video, and that'd be really cool, because I'm interested. If you look closely at the lower right of the face, you can see a marking labeled charge. What this is used for is whenever your watch has a very low charge, the second hand will go all the way over and just hold on that charge marking. So what this means is it's giving you a warning that if you don't charge it by exposing it to sunlight or any other type of light, it will run out of battery power in 5 days. Yeah, it gives you a 5-day head start, which is really cool, you know, because, I mean, who's not able to charge their watch in front of light in 5 days? You don't even have to hold it just in direct light. You can just wear it and light will enter it as you're doing your daily thing, you know? So that's really nifty, I think. Of course, your hour and minute hand will continue moving for you so that you still know what time it is, even if you have a low charge. But yeah, that's a very, very good practical aspect to the watch's power eco drive. stuff. As you can see, the hour markings, hour hand, and minute hand are all glow in the dark, which is a really great, nifty option, you know? If you're ever doing nighttime driving, or any type of nighttime activity, you're not at a loss of knowing what time it is. You don't need a light, it just glows in the dark, and that's very practical, I think. Onto the more physical aspects of the watch. Has a very large face on it with a diameter of 48 millimeters. The watch has a thickness of about 12 millimeters, and the bracelet has a width of about 23 millimeters. This is a really nice bracelet, by the way. It's Chinese made. It is stainless steel, black stainless steel. Very nice, glossy look to that. It has a double button fold-over clamp. Very, very cool looking. And it has a neat citizen stamp on it. So if your buddies are like, hey, what's that watch? You can be like, hey, it's a citizen. And they'll be like, no way! That's not a citizen. And you'll be like, yes, it is. They'll be like, show me the clamp. And you go, bam, citizen. And they'll be like, whoa, that's cool. You'll be like, yes. Yeah. This watch has a screwback case on the underside of it, which kind of made me sad. You know, I like those cool cases where you can look through it and you can see all the clockwork go and just see how your cool timepiece works. But unfortunately, no, my dreams were not fulfilled. But it is a nice back, you know. It has a lot of information on it that is very essential. Cool. Quick fact about this, Citizen is a Japanese company, so it is a Japanese movement. A movement is basically an arrangement of clockwork that's unique to different watches. This is actually very important for setting the watch, by the way. The movement of this particular timepiece is E820, as you can see from the bottom right there. You need to make sure that you are aware of this whenever you set it, because in the manual there are different actual mini manuals for each different movement. So if you are open to the manual for E81 movements, you'll be like, what the heck is this talking about? So you'll be a very confused and sad person, and your watch will not work out very well. So make sure that you set it to an E82 manual whenever you are adjusting the watch. Yeah, very important. This watch has a water resistance of approximately 10 bar, which translates to 100 meters or 333 feet of depth. Now, Citizen has made several recommendations and precautions regarding the water resistance of the watch. They say you can wash your face, wash your hands, wash the dishes, go swimming, even go snorkeling with the watch. But they advise against going scuba diving and using the crown and buttons whenever your hand or fingers are wet. Like I said, the watch is water resistant, not waterproof. As for the pros and cons of the watch, let's first talk about the pros. Obviously, I think it has a great build quality, you know. It has a great look to it. It looks a lot like a Breitling, in fact, you know. And the cool thing about it is that it costs less than a tenth of a Breitling, you know, Navitimer, for example. So that's definitely a pro. I think it has very precise second, minute, and hand, or hour hands. You know, like whenever I see a really cheaply made watch or a clock, I can see the second hand kind of flick a little bit past the mark and then kind of come back, and I think that just looks really bad. You know, that is not the case with this watch. It looks great. It has really cool, you know, whizzing of each hand whenever you switch between modes. I think that looks awesome, and you know, it's overall an incredible looking watch, an incredible working watch. The only con I would say that I have with it is that the window that displays the date should be like a white background with a black text, because that'd be kind of easier to read if you're in the dark, you know. But if you're that concerned about reading the date, you should turn on a light. So I guess that's not even really a con for this watch. Now, onto the price. This is probably going to be the more somber moment of the video. But the MSRP price for this particular watch is $525 American dollars, so it is a little bit pricey. But if you go onto a separate website that retails it, like Amazon or Newegg, you can pick it up for a lot cheaper. I was able to pick up this watch from Amazon for $394, so saved about, what's that, 131 bucks? It's definitely a plus. You know what you can do with 131 bucks? You can go parasailing for 131 bucks. And then you'll be like, whoa, I'm going parasailing. But wait a minute, that involves water. But that's right, this watch is water resistant. Yeah. So, definitely good savings there. Well, I guess that's it, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment or a message, and I will return it as soon as I can. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.